Alright, so camera is rolling, the microphone is going. What's going on, guys? Welcome to my officially first video on this YouTube channel, and in this video we are going to have a look at this animation that I posted on Instagram a couple weeks back, and you seem to really like it, so that's what we are going to recreate today using Blender. This animation is super beginner friendly, so if you've already spent a couple of hours in Blender, then you will have absolutely zero problem to follow along. Let's launch Blender and jump inside. So here I have prepared a clear scene in Blender where I deleted all the default objects, and on top of that I also downloaded PNG file of the Meta logo, which I can take and just drag and drop inside Blender straight away. Just like that, and now I can press Option or Alt G and R, so that way we can reset the location and rotation of the logo. Just one extra thing before we start, we have to enable one extra thing in the add-ons, so I will go to the preferences, and now it's going to depend on the version of Blender that you have. I have 4.2, so here I would go to extensions and I would search for Anim All. But if you have a previous version of Blender than 4.2, then you will have to go to add-ons and search again for Anim All, and here you will just enable it. So now we are all set to go, and our task now is to model out the actual logo, and for that we will use a circle curve. So I will press a Shift A, I will go to curve and add a circle. I will go to the top view pressing on Z here, and then I will also enable the orthographic view by pressing on this button. And now we are fully aligned to start modeling. So first I will scale the circle slightly by pressing S, and now I will press tab, go to edit mode, and you can see we have 4 vertices here, which is more than enough for us to work with. So I will take the top one and I will put it somewhere in the left top corner. Then I will take the left vertex, I will put it somewhere here in the bottom, and it doesn't have to be precise at all, we will smoothen it out later. So I will take the bottom one, and this one I want to take it across to the top right corner. And now you can see if I move this one to the bottom, now we are already getting the actual shape of the logo, which is exactly what we want. So you can see how easy that was to model it out. So now I will switch back to the object mode, I will go to the data properties, and here I will increase under geometry the depth of the curve, just like this. I don't want to match the thickness yet of the entire logo because I want to see where I'm working with it. So I will now position the vertices somewhere along the lines just to try to match the actual shape of the Meta logo. Something like that. Maybe this one I can put somewhere in the back, just like this. Maybe extend this one to the right, here to the left, and now probably the last one, like so. And again, it doesn't have to be super precise, just like this for now. And now I want to increase the depth one more time to match the actual thickness, so 0.16 works great in my case. And now I just want to give it some final touches, just like that. Maybe somewhere here a bit. Yeah, this is fine. Again, it doesn't have to be 100% correct because it will get lost in the animation, and of course no one will notice that it's not super aligned, and this is actually great. So now I'm going to increase the resolution to 10, and also I'm going to give it a subdivision modifier, so you can either press Command or Control 3 on your keyboard, or go just to modifier and search for subdivision surface, and I'm going to give it 3 levels in our case. And again, maybe it will show some extra blue space of the logo, so again I can switch back to edit mode and just give it final touch, just like so, and this is perfect. So now we are all set and we have modeled out the logo. So of course we have the intersection in the middle, which is not what we want, and that's a very easy fix for that. So first I'm going to rotate it on x-axis, so I'm going to press R, X, and type 90, and that's how you rotate the logo 90 degrees. I can actually already hide the reference logo, and I will switch back to edit mode. I will take these 2 vertices, and now I will slide them slightly to the back, just like that. And then I will take the other 2, and those ones I can maybe move slightly to the front. We can again switch to the top view, so this is how you can see that there is an actual space in the middle. So if I switch back to object mode, you can see that now we have a space in the middle over here. So that's how you know that it's not intersecting. Perfect, now we have modeled out the logo and now it's time to animate it. So I will switch again to the top view by pressing Z here. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the actual end animation. I'm just going to decrease it to 100 frames, which is more than enough. I can press 0 here. So now I can switch back to the edit mode by pressing tab, and I can also press N now, which is going to make appear these windows. And here at the bottom you can see we have a tab called animation. And here we want to enable the location, which is all we need for now. And if you notice, this is called anim all, which is exactly the add-on or the extension that we've enabled at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to press A. I make sure that I'm in the 100 keyframe, which is the end of the animation. And now I will press insert key button. You can see we've added a keyframe. And now I will go back to 0 and I will select only these top two vertices. And now if I drag this to the back, I will click again insert key, which inserts again the keyframes here. And now if I play it, you can see that that's how we animate the actual shape of the curve, which is really cool. So I want to play around with it a little more. I will go to the top view again, and I actually want to make it slightly different. So I will put this one to the front as well. And I actually want to maybe create like a circle shape, so it's slightly smoother when it forms the actual logo. I can also insert this inside slightly, maybe rotate this. Of course, it's not completely perfect circle, but that's all we need for now. And again, I just have to go to edit mode and I have to make sure that I insert the keys, otherwise it will not get saved. So now if I play it, you can see that we have a really cool animation that creates from this circular shape all the way to the Meta logo, which is really cool. Now I can actually go and add a camera. So I'm going to press Shift A and add a camera. I'm going to drag it slightly to the back. I can align it to the view. I will give it 90 degrees. Here I'm going to set 0. And I just want to make sure that the logo is full inside the camera lens. And now I want to animate the rotation of the actual logo. So again, I'm going to go to item, and here you have the rotation values and the location values. So first I'm going to hover over the rotation values, and just by hovering over it and pressing I on your keyboard, that's how you insert a keyframe for the rotations. And now we can go back to the keyframe 0 to the beginning, and we can play around with the values of the rotation. So maybe something like this. I want to make sure that the circle is actually looking at the camera, because I will want to have a fly through animation of the camera through the logo, which I'm going to create in a second. So I'm going to want to have this circle at least looking at me first. So if I preview it, you can see now we not only have the shape animation, but we also have the rotation, which forms from the circle to the actual shape of Meta logo. So I will animate the camera now. So again, I will hover over the location, press I to set a keyframe. I set it to 0, so I'll just drag it to 100. And now being on 0 frame, I will now just drag it somewhere here. You can see that now we have this reveal effect that the camera comes from inside the logo. So having this animation, now I want to make the rotation of the logo slightly more dynamic. So I will go back again to the 0 frame, and maybe I want to give it even more, maybe like 480, something like that. Maybe here I want to decrease it to -102 or something like that. And maybe here let's decrease it as well, which should give us really cool and dynamic rotation, something like this. Oh yeah, that's perfect. So now I want to smoothen out the animation slightly more. So here I will go to the top right corner, and when the plus sign appears, I will just drag to the left. And now I want to change this viewport to graph editor. I will press N to make this disappear. And first I will edit the camera. So this is what I have now. By default, you should have a Bezier curve. I have this linear curve by default. So I will press T to change it to Bezier. And here I will take this keyframe and I will press S, X and type 0. So that's how we can zero out the value. And then this one I will drag all the way to the left. So now when I preview it, now you can see that we've achieved a camera movement that starts really fast and really slowly ends at the end of the animation, which is exactly what I wanted. So now I want to smoothen out the logo animation itself. So I will click on that and I will press A to select all the graphs here. I can go to view and frame all, so we have visibility over all of them. I'll press T again, select Bezier curve, And here I want to go to change the pivot point to individual centers. Otherwise our animation would mess up a lot. And I will press S again, and I just want to make it more dynamic, just like so. So it starts very slow, is fast in the middle, and ends at the end like this, very smoothly. I really like the shape of the animation, how it's rotating. This is really cool. Now we are done with the modeling and the animation part, and we can go ahead and apply some lights and finally materials. So I will switch to the render view like this. I will also go to the world tab and drag it all the way to the black, and I will press Shift A and add the first area light, drag it on top, something like this is enough for now. And I will increase the intensity to, let's say, 100. I can immediately give it a nice meta blue color, something like this. It doesn't have to be precise because we are going to change the material anyway. And I can duplicate the light one more time, pressing Shift D and dragging it below. I can now press R, X and type 180. And I can again open one extra window. This time I will switch it to shader editor. I will click on the logo and click on new. And here I want to achieve that nice shiny look, which is really easy to do. So first I'm going to press Shift A, search for mix shader. I will plug it in between these two. I will also search for translucent node, and I will plug it into the bottom shader of the mix shader. I'm also going to decrease the roughness to 0.2, which is going to better reflect the lights, as you can see here or here, for example. And I will also drag the transmission value all the way to 1, like this. And I can also give the logo the rich blue color as well, something like this. And one extra thing I need is to control the mix shader. So first I'm going to search for color ramp, which is going to allow us to control the factor of the node. And I will also search for layer weight and plug the Fresnel into the factor here. And here I will decrease the blend to 0.2 again. And now I want you to see better, so I will add one extra area light. I will rotate it on 90 degrees. I will put it exactly in front of the logo. I will increase the power to, let's say, 1000 for now. And if I switch to the camera view, and one extra thing I want to do is I want to drag these two closer to each other, something like this. And I'm actually going to switch the area light to blue, like so. And now it's just about adding more lights and playing around with the positioning so we get our desired look. So for example, if I take this area light and I drag it to the left, you can see now we are achieving this highlight to be on the left side of the logo. If I drag it to the right, we get the same on the right side. Maybe I can add one extra light, so I will take this one, duplicate it, and maybe position it somewhere over here. I can press Shift T, which is going to allow us to set the rotation exactly where our mouse is. And yeah, like I'm saying, it really depends on what you prefer, but I'm really happy with this result for now, so we can go ahead and export it. And for that, we will use 25 frames per second. I will only take the color management set to standard. Usually by default it's on film, and I don't really like that one. We will also enable motion blur. And because we are using cycles, I always recommend you to render it as PNG files, because if Blender crashes and we are exporting it as MP4, you would have to start all over again. And if we are rendering as PNG files and Blender crashes, then we can just go back to the lost frames and we don't have to render all over again. One extra thing I forgot before we render it out is adding a glare to the highlights, and it's very easy to do, and it's when you go to the compositing tab over here at the top. And if you just set the same setup as I have here, so adding a denoise and a glare node, and setting the glare node to fog glow and size to 8 or 7, then you are all set to go. You can just go to render. And this is the animation that you should end up with. Obviously we're still missing the logotype, and for that we are going to use Illustrator and then jump into After Effects. First we will jump to Illustrator, and I will change the font to Helvetica Neue. I think that's how it's pronounced, and the regular one. And I just want to make sure that I have every single letter in different layer. So first I will go to Create Outlines and I will ungroup it. And then I will go to the Layer tab and add 3 layers. I will press on M, I will press Command X to delete it, click on the layer 2, press Command F to paste it in the new layer, then I will press on E, Command X, press layer 3 and Command F, and then the last letter T, I will press Command X, layer 4, Command F. So once our logotype is ready, we can go ahead and jump inside After Effects. I will create a new composition. I will call this one render, and I will set the usual 1920 to 1080 resolution, and I make sure that it's set up to 5 seconds. This will be more than enough for us, and I can just drag and drop the Illustrator file inside. I want to make sure that it's set as composition and it keeps the layer size, and I can just open it like this, and now you can see we have all individual layers over here as layers. So first thing I want to do is I want to right click, create shapes from vector layer. I can now delete all the Illustrator layers, and actually it's really worth to rename the layers based on the letters so we know exactly what we are working with, just like that. I can put this one meta like this to align it, and I'm now going to switch the fill to white. And now it's all about adding some trim path animations. So first I'm going to start with the letter M. So I'm going to take a pen tool and I'm going to click somewhere here, and then what I'm trying to do is I want to create a shape of the letter M with the pen tool. So something like this. It doesn't have to be precise, we will again clear it out later. I want to disable the fill here. I will put it under the M, and so here you can see you can set a track matte. I'm going to take the pick whip and drag it onto the shape layer. We've created a mask based on the stroke shape that we've created, which isn't really precise. So now we just have to go ahead and fix that. So first I want to take it and drag this point somewhere here. Then I want to put it somewhere here, and you can see that we really have to make sure that we are as precise as possible, because if we just put it like slightly to the left or to the right, then it is not gonna work, because you can, if I'm going to add actually the trim path so we can see it better, I can already animate it. So first I will set the end animation to 0, and then I will go 1 second forward like this, set it to 100. So now you can see, for example, here in this corner, we really have to make sure that we are as precise as possible, because otherwise we will have really weird edges and it will not be as nice. So you can, for example, see here it's way different. Here it's quite fine. Also here at the bottom, but if I would just drag it slightly over here, now you can see now we are getting the slight edge of this other part of the letter M. So I want to make sure that it's as aligned as possible. And the same thing here. So first, let's say over here, something like this. And then if I go to this right top corner, then I think you can see here it's starting to mess up. So somewhere around here should be great. And actually slightly more, because you can see here is still over edging over here. So just slightly more. And now we are done with the letter M. I can just go ahead and press F9, and now I can select both keyframes, go to the graph editor over here, and maybe I can drag both values closer to each other. So actually even more. Yeah, just like this. One extra thing I can spice it up with is I can take both layers. I can press Command D to duplicate them. I can put them on top, set the fill of the second M to the meta blue, something like this. I actually have to put them below the white M because I want the white to be on top. And then I can take this first white stroke and I can offset it slightly to the front. So now you can see it's starting with the blue stroke followed by the white one, which is really cool. And the last thing we have to do is again switch to this view and click over here, which enables the motion blur, so you can see what difference it makes if I disable, enable, disable, enable, which makes it even better, just like that. So if I preview it, I can just drag the timeline over here and you can see this is what we've got now. And now it's just about replicating the exact same technique for the other letters. In this video I'm actually going to cover the last letter A, because that one is probably the one you might struggle the most with. So again, I'm going to select the pen tool and I want to make sure that I don't have any layer selected. And now I will just do the same. And here it's about finding a way how you can cover the entire letter in one single stroke. So I'm actually going to start like this. Again, I'm not really precise so far, but this is fine. And now I'm going to disable the fill again. I'm going to actually increase the stroke slightly more, so I make sure I cover it all. If you've by accident created a sharp edge like this, you can just press Option or Alt and click, and that's how you add the handles. So we make sure that we don't have any sharp edges. I will do the same over here, and that's all what we need. So now again, I can actually go to this shape layer, and I can click on trim path, Command or Control C, and just copy paste it. Now we have covered the entire letter A with the blue stroke, so again we have to set the drag matte. So I will click here, select the pick whip and drag it onto the shape layer, which masks out the letter A. And you can see again we have mistakes over here because we have these parts of A which we don't want to be seen. I will go and select the pen tool, and I will click and adjust the shape just like that. You can see now it's perfectly straight all the way to the bottom, and I can do the exact same thing like before. Select both layers, press Command D to duplicate them, put them below, and I can select the fill to be the blue one. Command C, go to the fill, copy paste it, and now let's just offset it the exact same way. And all we need to do is to select the motion blur again, and this is what we have got. Okay, I have fast forwarded this and animated the other two missing letters using the exact same technique, and now I also want to pre-compose it. So I'm going to right click, pre-compose, and name it the letter T. And we can give it one extra spice by animating the position. So I will go to the end frame, press P, and set keyframes for all the positions. And then I'm pressing shift and clicking right arrow, so I animate the position just like that. So there is a very subtle animation going from right to the left. I can now make them easy ease by pressing F9, go to the graph editor and dragging this all the way to the left and this one to the middle, just like that. So now it starts very abruptly and ends very smoothly. And what I can do is I can again offset them. So let's say by 2 frames each. Actually, let's make it slightly more, maybe 4 for each. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. So we get a slightly more dynamic look and reveal effect. Now we are just missing to throw in the actual logo we exported in Blender. So I'm going to the import, file, press Command or Control A to select all of them. Click on PNG sequence, open it, and drag it onto the timeline. I'm going to drag the logo animation over here on the top, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer by Command D or Control D, and I'm going to the end frame and I'll right click and I will go to time and freeze the frame. So if I preview it, you can see that it ends and then it stays in the frame for a couple more seconds until the end. And now what I want to add is I want to give it a light ray, so I will press on Meta Logo and search in effects for a light ray, then drag it on top, and now we have a couple of options that we can play around. So first I'm going to set the center. I want to make sure I put it in the brightest spot in the logo, so maybe somewhere here in the middle. You can see that already gives us this light ray coming through, which is really nice. You can see around here the light ray goes through, then it ends, and then it appears again, which is not what I want. So first I will search for this spot where there is no light ray coming through. I will set the intensity to 0, set a keyframe, and then I will search for somewhere in the middle like this. Then I will set the intensity to, let's say, 150. I think that should be fine. And then I will go to the end again and set it to 0 again. And now if we are going to preview it, you can see that we are having this very subtle light ray going through just at the end of the animation, which is enough for me. I don't want it to be throughout the entire animation, so this is fine. Now we're just missing to position the logo and the logotype together. So first I'm going to select both of these layers at the bottom, press S and Shift P. So I expand the position and scale, and I will go somewhere around the 3rd second, something like this. And I will set both keyframes, and then I will go forward, let's say to the 4th second. And now I'm going to scale it down, something like this, and then I will also drag it to the left, just like that. I can also enable the proportional grid, so I make sure that we are nicely in the middle. So something like this should work. Now turn it off, and all I'm missing is just smoothing out these frames. So again, F9 to easy ease, drag these ones more to the middle, so it again starts and ends smoothly. So if I preview it, now it scales and moves to the left, and it's followed by the logotype just like this. I can even extend this slightly more. And yeah, it really depends. Now you can just play around with it and get what you like the most. And that would be it for today's tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two, and if you happen to create this animation for yourself, then feel free to send it to me. I'm more than happy to review it. And if you're interested in more of my stuff, then down below you can find all the links. And since this is the first video on this channel, I would super appreciate a like, a comment, or subscribe, or any kind of feedback, so I know that you like this video and I can create another tutorial in the future. Cheers!